Hey guys, Jason here for TheChartGuys, taking a look at Amazon, looking at the weekly time frame here, and the real key thing to notice on the weekly time frame is that we still have a bullish uptrend on the weekly as long as we stay above 1672. If we do that, then the story can just continue as it has been, setting higher highs and higher lows on the weekly time frame. Not necessarily what's going to happen, it's just a level that we're going to use to watch and have it evolve the way that we look at the charts. So as long as we're above those levels, we can anticipate continuation. If we lose that level, it's going to change the way that we look at these charts, our perspective, and we're going to start taking more bearish stances on some of our sub-time frame plays. So all eyes on 1672 on the weekly time frame. The current candlestick, and really this is just a daily candlestick because it is Monday, is a nice little confusing small spinning top, almost a doji on the weekly time frame. But we'll go to the daily time frame, get some perspective on that, and we see it's not quite a doji, but you know what? The answer is the same thing. It is a small-bodied candlestick with long upper and lower wicks on big volume, which screams indecision. And if we have a good RSI level, and we are sub 30, we're at 2377, this is an area that's ripe for a nice bounce. We're oversold on the daily. We don't necessarily have support, but we've seen a lot of shares trade hands today. We don't have any good EMA resistances on the daily time frame, and this could be a nice gap down reversal pattern. We'll see where we open tomorrow, what our initial strength is, but we need to be paying attention to a few things on today's range. 1788 is our resistance and support at 1748. So a nice range to play with. If we go to the 4-hour time frame, we can see that the 4-hour bears are very much in control. We're getting close to that low, and we had a good bounce in the morning. But you know what? We're still stuck inside this range. Currently, the bears are in control. RSI 1872. We're getting into some pretty substantial oversold territory. And when you get those good bounces going, when you're down at these levels with these extreme RSIs, you can have some pretty good sizable opportunities. So I'll be keeping an eye out for that tomorrow. Hourly time frame. We're looking for support to be found and to hold at 1748. We do need to see a higher low and we need to see a higher high. This is how the bulls get control of the situation. If we get a good, like a relatively equal open tomorrow, I'm not sure what our overall market is doing right now, but if we open in this range, we come down and we get a higher low and a higher low, a higher high, smash 1788, 66, then that bounce really gets started. But that may happen here, it may happen here, it may even happen down here on this 1672 support. We don't know yet. We just have to anticipate what a good bounce is going to be, and because we're oversold on multiple time frames for our RSI, it's going to happen sooner or later. We just got to be ready for it. So that's what I'm watching on Amazon. Hopefully we'll get that good action tomorrow, and if we do, we will have a good follow through. If we don't, we will do a breakdown of what we should have looked for or what we will look for in the following days. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this helps. And if you like technical analysis, please come out and check out chartguys.com or just Google technical analysis. There's tons of resources out there. And I want everyone to learn this. It's amazing. It'll change your life. Hey guys, Jason here for ChartGuys. We're taking a look at Tesla. We missed Friday's video, and I wanted to talk about this pattern that we had looked at, and we said, let's keep an eye out for a potential head and shoulders play. Head and shoulders play, of course, is really a trend change. We were sitting higher highs in the hourly time frame. We saw a high of 246.68, and I said, you know what? If we don't get a higher high, we see a lower high, that's going to be a sign of trend change and weakness, and if we lose that neckline, that's going to be a completion of that trend change. And the trend change is really just a head and shoulders pattern. It's the same thing talked about in a different way, represented in a different way, and it's a number system that has just been converted into a visual indicator, something that people like me love because it's easy to remember, easy to recognize, and it contains a lot of information that you otherwise need to spell out a lot of numbers for. So we're seeing downside movement. Following that, we saw the break of the neckline, we saw a low, we saw a bounce, and now we're seeing lower lows and lower highs. Let's jump to the weekly time frame, get a little bit of context after looking at that hourly time frame. Very much in a weekly downtrend. We did manage to take EMA 26, gave it right back. We saw resistance when we were trying to get back above EMA 12, and now we are 1 day into this trading candlestick here. Not a lot of information there, but still underneath our EMA 12 on the weekly time frame. Daily candles are going to be giving us not so much more information Ultimately, we need to hold 222.25 support. If that manages to hold, bulls have the chance to turn things around and retake this daily uptrend that they were in before that big earnings drop. We'll see if they can do that. Ultimately, the daily trend will be changed with the setting of a higher low, and then bulls getting over 246.68. So they got a lot of proving to do. I don't think we're going to do it in the short term, but we're getting very close to where we need to set that potential higher low on the daily. 4-hour time frame. This is where we're going to see the inklings of a trend change. Nothing on the 4-hour for the bulls yet, still setting lower lows, lower highs, and on the hourly time frame, we are seeing more of the same, where we get this low, lower high, lower low. Ultimately, what we need to do now is have these bulls hold 225.78 and then get a new high over top of this pre-market level, 231.37. That will give us a potential trend change in the area that we want to see that daily higher low. So it looks something like that, setting a new higher low, higher high, changing that overall trend, jumping to the 4-hour, and it starts to retake and get through some of those key EMA resistances on multiple time frames, 4-hour and daily. So if that does happen to work out, then our next target, again, to change things really in the favor of the bulls, breaking 246.68. If we fail to do that, and this miniature bear flag looks more like a bear flag on the 4-hour time frame, but I'm hesitant to call it one. Essentially, it's a drop, and now we are just seeing some consolidation. Should we lose 225.78, we're looking for a continuation of this pattern to the downside. We would look for a support test at 222.25. Should we break that? Well, let's check what our daily support levels are, because that's where we need to go to in order to find something that's going to back us up down here. I see a little bit of support at 215.50, and likewise a little bit more over here at 207.51. So what's the overall verdict here? Bulls need to hold 222.25. If they manage to hold that level, we see a trend change on the 15 and the hourly, carry over to the 4-hour time frame. We have an opportunity and a chance to change this little blip and retake this daily uptrend that we were in before earnings, and that would look something like that. We'll see what happens. I'm curious and always interested to see how these develop. Always a learning opportunity every single time you look at a chart, and I'm keen to see what happens. Thanks guys for watching. I do appreciate it. Have a wonderful Monday. Hey guys, Jason here for Chart Guys, taking a look at Netflix. We're starting with a monthly time frame because Mondays I just like to start with a fresh perspective. And I'm seeing a little bit of an EQ potentially playing out. We've only got 2 points. What we want to do is make sure that these monthly bulls can hold above 231.23, and then if that actually works out, we have the option, or I should say the potential, for a monthly EQ. So many months and years, in fact, for that to possibly play out. Anything can happen, but we just got to be open to ideas. Bulls definitely need to hold 231.23, and we're seeing support on the monthly time frame currently at 292.64. We jump to the weekly time frame, see what's going on. We've lost 332.65 support, no support on the weekly time frame until we get down to 231.23. So we will be relying on daily support levels and RSIs. Current RSI level on the weekly time frame is very comfortable at 40.93. We can consolidate and move nicely sideways for quite some time. Daily time frame spelling a little bit of a different story here. We did have a little bit of a daily uptrend. We tried to retake that. We collided directly with EMA 12. Right now, it's all about this resistance, and in fact, we may have broken that on today's action, setting a new lower low underneath 305.81. We'll take a look and see if that range acted as support for us on the daily time frame, but right now this is just opening up more volatility, so we got to zoom in and get an idea. I was hoping that we would be able to set a higher low above 305.81, but that is not currently the case. Let's jump to the 4-hour time frame, see what's going on. On the 4-hour, it starts to look a little bit more like a double bottom. 305.30, we can see that we did get down, touch that level. We've bounced ever so slightly, and for this to have any sort of hope of follow through, we really need to see some bull volume come in and have us confirm that this is an area of support. Until that happens, we don't have any inclination that it's going to hold. We're just going to watch this 4-hour trend, and in fact, if we go to the hourly time frame, it's going to make a lot more sense. Lower highs, lower lows. There's that lower low, just fits right in with the narrative of this hourly trend, and then we're going to look for that low to hold, a new high over 1342, come down, look for support in those EMA levels, and carry that over into a 4-hour trend change. Then maybe we got something. If we just see more bearish action, again, no support, really, even on the 4-hour time frame until maybe 256.58. There's just not a lot of support up here. So if the bulls don't show up in a big way, within the next 24 hours, we're going to be looking for a lot more bearish activity with the overall target 231.23. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Hey guys, Jason here for TheChartGuys, taking a look at Apple. Apple's really fallen out of this daily trend. There's no point really in even using it anymore, so we're going to go ahead and clear our charts, and we're going to start looking at the daily candlestick. There's that accelerating drop, big gaps down. Our RSI is getting, well, it should be oversold by now, but really it's 36.55, and it looks pretty ominous, doesn't it? All right, daily support is only available in a couple of key locations right now. 190.30 is the next level, and then nothing till 181.14. Unlikely we're going to keep dropping to that point. If we continue down and we hit 190.30, that would be my first logical point, looking for a little bit of reversal or bounce. By that time, our RSI should be very close, if not oversold, sub 30. And we will look to find some trend changes in the 15 and hourly time frame for that to give us a little bit of guidance. Those are the only real supports on the daily time frame that we've got. 4-hour time frame, we're starting to see a little bit of a slowdown here. The last candlestick was nice and tight. RSI is 26.28. No signs of a bounce yet, and no real support on the 4-hour other than what we mentioned already. Hourly time frame, we are still seeing more continued downside, setting lower lows on almost every candlestick. So again, no signs of trend change yet. And on the 15-minute time frame, we have the first little glimpse of hope that we're starting to see some moves with a little bit more of bull volume, but we're still setting lower lows, lower highs, and it's going to be more of the same until we change this trend. So what we need to do that is tomorrow we need to see some strength. We need to see a low that either is around 192. Well, really, we don't know what was going to happen. What we want to see is a development of a low, and then what we want to see is that low hold with a higher low or act as a double bottom or something in the area of this 190.30 area of support in the daily time frame, and then start changing that trend. Then that carries over, of course, into the hourly time frame. We see a new higher low and then continue on thusly. That's really all the hope we have right now. We have a couple of oversold conditions. If we go to our hourly time frame, we're 18.76. On the 15-minute time frame, we're probably a little more comfortable, 34.97, with a little bit of bullish divergence here. Our RSI is climbing while our price is decreasing. So we're getting into some situations that have historically gave us good bounces, and we're going to see if those play out. It's all about that trend change. Watch for your opportunities in tomorrow's action. See where we open. If we open above 190.30, dip down to that level. I'll be a buyer at that level, and we'll watch very closely with a nice stop and see if we can't get that trend change to confirm and give us a little bit of taco money. That's all for today. Play very cautiously, of course. Don't just jump in on any old opportunity. You need to watch your trends, you need to watch your support levels, and you need to use technical analysis to help time your entries. If you just manage to get a position on this candlestick on the second just because you saw a couple of big drops, you would have been really unfortunate to be in that position because the drop continues. We need to see those trend changes, and we need to see daily support levels hold to give us those good, safe opportunities. Thank you for watching, and we'll check in on this one tomorrow. This should be an interesting one.